Ha ha! Logged in, man. Had to restart my whole computer to get the games back going, man. What's going on? Log in, family. They not like us. They not like us. What's up? Where y'all at? I gotta grab something real quick. My head shiny than a mug, man. Just charge it real quick. Oh. They not like us. They not like us. What up? What's happening? What's happening? Blind rapper coming out with an album, dog. It's gonna be on SoundCloud. It's called I Only See a Real G When I Look in the Mirror. Be humble. Eastwood. When they stream that new Charlie, all dirtbags, they go crazy. All dirtbags go crazy. I still ain't put that book on my website. I'm tripping. I went on the grind all week. HEA, he said, Charlie, whatsoever up though? He said, F the blind rapper. Man, listen, blind rapper gonna be doing an album on SoundCloud, dog. It's popping. It's up. If it's up, then it's stuck. If it's up, then it's stuck. Man, my flip phone be getting national recognition everywhere I go. Is that a flip phone, dude? Man, that's your only phone? Yep. I got a flip phone, dog. Love this phone. It keeps me focused, keeps me logged in. We're having a good time. Y'all pile in, man. You need to work on your white voice. Man, my white voice is on point. Why do you think I'm able to book all them national commercials? They got a certain way of asking me in the audition room, like, Charlie, is there any way you can like produce a suburban voice for us for this particular commercial? Yeah. Listen, I can code switch. I love what Dave Chappelle said. He said, Black people are bilingual. He said, we speak job interview and hood vernacular. Man, listen, I don't know, be humble. My white voice is impeccable. Dude, listen, I think white people cuss the best. Dude, man, I can't say it on the show because they'll restrict my live. But dude, man, dude, I'm telling you, man, my girlfriend, she opened up her cooch and I dived inside, man. And it's so great, man. You should see my girl's apple bottom, bro. It is. Oh, man. She's so hot, dude. Man, I'm telling you, dude. If you see my girl, you see her ass. I'm telling you, man, it's like a black girl's ass, dude. But she's white, man. You know? She bleaches her bunghole. Man, and I devour it, man. It tastes like clams. Dude, man. Telling you, man. So I'm banging my girl the other night, right? And she's like slow down, Eric. And I'm like, I got to push through, Y'all not seeing me on the white voice, man. I grew up in Romulus, just outside of Detroit, where the airport is. And it was white. It's all it was white and black. It was nothing else. There was no Hispanic, no Asian, just white, black. It was majority white. And Romulus was super racist back then. So listening to white dudes talk, hilarious. I almost found out too, because I'm so big at 6'3", 220. I found that sometimes I used to work at the airport driving the electric cart, and I worked on the curb, and I worked in baggage claim before before Delta was Northwest Airlines. And I found that white people felt way more comfortable if you sounded like them. And me, I worked for tips. I didn't make a lot per hour, but I worked for tips. So as soon as they saw me and how big I was, they had a little bit of fear. But when they hear me and I sounded like them on purpose, then they were like, oh, he's one of the good ones. Donna, he's one of the good ones. And they would tip me well. I used to make so much money at the airport between 95 and 99. Bro. You say, do I feel bad for shorter people? Man, I feel like I attract what I am. Everybody in my chat, everybody on the channel, most of y'all my size, man. And sometimes I do. I feel like I had this conversation with my girl the other day. We was just talking about how like when you taller and you look a certain type of way, so a lot of people feel threatened when they're in the room. I had this discussion with my cousin too. He said, man, you realize that a lot of people, because I was telling him how a few of my friends got some opportunities with a streaming network. And I asked them to also, I said, hey man, y'all got this opportunity. Introduce me to the people in the room. I ain't asking y'all for y'all bag, but introduce me to the people who gave you the bag because we friends. And now out of all three people, none of them introduced me to the decision makers. And my cousin was like, man, you realize that when people see you, sometimes they see a threat. You 6'3", you 220, charismatic, blah, blah, blah. They see you like you either going to take their women or take their opportunities. And I'm like, dang, all I asked for was an introduction. I didn't ask for your bag. I asked you to put me in a room so I can get my own. But if I was like 5'3", brown skin and goofy, I feel like sometimes people would feel more comfortable around me. They wouldn't feel the need to emasculate me. And I'm like, man, I'm going in the room as a human being. I ain't going in the room feeling like I'm better than anybody else. You said shorter people have it hard. Charlie went to, what did he say? Charlie went to the whole ATX terrestrial. What's your real name? You probably got a real weird first name like Cleophas. You Cleophas the Fourth. ATX. Braylon. Hey, Bray. We were wondering, we're trying to do something for Black History Month, Braylon. We were wondering if you could do a Juneteenth poem for us and be in some type of African tribal gear. Could you come to work with a spear and throw it through a watermelon for us? Dog. Braylon, we were wondering, Braylon, are you of mixed race? You're lighter skinned, Braylon. We don't want to be confused. Is your dad Puerto Rican by chance? Bray? Oh, no. Braylon, in third grade, you told your teacher that Malcolm X was cute. Braylon, are you wearing underwear? He can't come to school without undies on, Bray. Oh yeah. See no evil giving his opinion on the Diddy tape. Hey man, Diddy running up the hallway with that white towel on. My dog is cooked. First of all, you went public saying that Cassie was lying and nothing she said was true. And you paid her millions of dollars. Then a video comes out, and then you acknowledge that everything on the video and what she said was true. Somebody is trying to end Diddy. But also, too, I read Psalm 75 this morning. It says promotion doesn't come from the east or the west, north or the south, but it comes from God. He puts down one and raises up the other. No matter how it comes, God is the one that puts people down and raises other people up. Even if we don't agree with everything about him, God is the one who promotes. So this is for all the people who get upset, who mad about other people who get opportunities. I'm never upset when another person gets an opportunity. God's always in control. You know, I will ask that person if I know them, if they get an opportunity, hey, introduce me to the person who gave you the opportunity. But if they decide not to, I'm like, all right, God's in control. So Diddy's being put down, obviously, for various reasons, but come on, man. You know, another part, too, that a lot of people don't think about is what about some of these women who are in these situations and positions who want that to happen to them? I'm not mentioning no names. And it's sad what happens to certain people in situations, but you do realize some people want to do these things in their quest to being famous. Caprice Rosenberg, Milwaukee in the building. The video got released after his son did a 50 Cent diss track. I don't even know who's afraid of Puffy's son at all. Like I would slap young King Combs. What are you gonna do to me? I feel like everybody in the industry feels that way. What's he gonna do? What's anybody in his circle gonna do? Bro, you grew up rich and entitled. Why are you making a diss song against 50 Cent? Who's afraid of Diddy's son on this planet? What you gonna do to me, dog? I'll snatch your chain and bunny ear your pockets, man. Oh, you got family from Wisconsin? What up, though? Charlie got on the shirt that all the deacons have who got parole officers. Hey, dog. That's funny. All the deacons who got parole officers wear this shirt. No, I'm crying. You, uh, 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 what was I gonna say? You got a restricted license after that third DUI, ATX terrestrial. You can only drive to work and back. You can't go nowhere else. The only way you can go somewhere is if you ask your kids if you can use a car. Wisconsin, that's close to Michigan, man. Be humble when you fart. Mustard like liquid comes out every time. You got to check on what's going on with the seals and your shanks, man. They're a little loose. You went to your uncle's wedding in Milwaukee. This Russian dude was there trying to broker a drug. Hey, be humble. I feel like we might be the same person. We might be very similar, man. I swear. I remember I was working a job. I've worked so many jobs where people be walking up to me offering me illicit opportunities. And of course, maybe it's because I've had my hands in so many wild transactions in my past. But I know one dude was like, listen, Charlie, at one of my jobs, I don't even want to say years and years and years ago. Here's the thing, man. I rented a Jeep. We're going to go over to Mexico, get XYZ, come back. I just want somebody to ride with me, man. You ride with me, I got XYZ for you. And you know how hard it was to say no? Because the last time I did any kind of scams or anything on the dark side of earning money was probably 2005. Somewhere in the 2000s. But I feel like I get offered all these opportunities on a regular basis. And I'm like, man, I can't even mention all of them, man, because they're so detailed. I wouldn't even put them people out there like that. But it's on a regular. It probably was because you black be humble, but it also probably is because there's the residue of hustling on you, dog. There's a residue. If you did scams, sold a few bags, participated in anything that acquires money through the dark market, I feel like there's a residue on you and people see it. It's like blood in the water. I remember when JoJo was here weeks ago, certain things that happen to us or we do, there's blood in the water. Sharks will see it. Hey, I know when I walk in the room, I can tell a fellow dirtbag, and I can also tell the skeezer in the room. It's you. How you doing, honey? I know you're about that life. Quit playing. I don't care who you with. You're about that life. And 9 times out of 10, I'm right. And also, too, a fellow hustler. I know you got a job and all that, but there's a residue. See what I'm saying? Be humble. I knew it. You a fellow dirtbag. Charlie looked like Common if he was an astounding stepfather. You gonna tap in tomorrow? You here in London? Shout out HEA to London. Appreciate you, London, for tapping in. I'm gonna blaze you HEA before you get out of here. I think you got a 4th grade reading level. I think when you read, it's real slow-mo like Mayweather. I went to the store to buy some crispy. I'm sorry. Is this crispy? That's you, HEA. You got a low reading level. Yeah, HEA, I feel it. And I only attract the people that I attract are also fellow hustlers, man. 4th grade reading level. I waited on a table being a server at Cedar Point in 2012. Guess what that baby name was? Cleophas Jr. My dog was working at Cedar Point. My cousin worked at Cedar Point. Oh man, when was she there? I went and picked her up too. She worked at Cedar Point for a summer. She got pregnant. I picked her up and she stayed with me for a while. And now her son is a star football player in Atlanta at a high school. I don't want to say their name, but I don't know. Just you've been to Cedar Point. Shout out to Cedar Point. Cedar Point is the best amusement park in the world. Six Flags ain't got nothing on Cedar Point. Shout out to Sandusky. Some quality trollops in Sandusky too. My daughter had a cheer tournament in Sandusky a month ago. And I was there at the gas station, and this employee at the gas station was doing everything in her power to get my attention. Hey, how you doing? When I walked out, she followed me out to the car. I'm like, man, she ain't playing no games, man. I didn't give her no action, but just shout out to her for her boldness. Shout out to Sandusky. They breed some bold, strong-looking women out there. She was ready. She had a Cedar Point baby, for real. Yeah, she wanted some action. She was on my head, man. If y'all only knew, I ain't even trying to be vain or whatever, but the amount, and shout out to women. I respect and give credit to how bold women are nowadays. The commentary I've gotten, how bold women are with approaching me. I remember I was walking out of a restaurant in Eastvale, California, not too long ago. And I was with somebody. We went out to eat. She got in her car. I was walking to my car. And this Mercedes, this Hispanic woman in a Mercedes rolled her window down as I was walking to my car. And I had workout clothes on. They're like some gray shorts on, tank top. This lady rolled down her window. She said, "Hey, I see your BICK." And then she just stared at me. And I'm talking about she wasn't ugly. It's real easy for dudes to say no to the ugly broads, but I'm talking about them bad ones. You know what I'm saying? 5'10", 5'11", strapped up, beautiful face, nice teeth, brand new car. I don't care what nobody say. You got to be a real man. You get hit on by beautiful women 20 times a week and say no to all of them, you the real deal. Most men can't even relate to that. Then you say no to one and you get judged for that one. Charlie's a whore. He's blah, blah, blah. I said no 30 times this week, man. You see all these women I'm saying no to? Charlie dressed like Walter White with the flip phone. Hey, man, at Kalahari at the convention center, I worked there too as a server. Oh, dog, you was good. You was going to work, man. You was straight up going to work. You know what I mean? Women I say no to per week that are just bold, saying whatever in my face. They bold now. So if I say no to 40 women during a week, 40 women during a month, whatever the case may be, then you try to judge me for one that I get a phone number from? And I'll eventually say no to her too over time. It's like, there's just some things that some men will never understand, dog. Some things that some women will never understand, man. But also, too, it's a test. I remember a long time ago, God told me, if you stay holy, I'll take care of the rest. And this was back in 2008. I was married at the time. I was like, I don't understand what this means. Now I understand. Now it's all ages. 18, 19, 20 to 50, 60. If they're coming at you 100 miles an hour, if you don't have the ability to say no consistently or control yourself, it's like, it's crazy. Reno Molina, what's popping? Got the same problem, Charlie, but it'd be Geraldine and Miss Becky Bill. Hey, man, I had an old broad trying to holler at me the other day, man, at work. She got to be a cool 60 ball. So much swag. Hey, baby. I don't even know her name. Let's call her Mildred. Hey, baby. I'm like, what can you do for me other than let me use the El Dorado next weekend? You know what I'm saying? Just throwing it. I'm like, come on, man. I don't want that. I wouldn't stick my pipe in that if you paid me. But I think that's what some women don't understand is I was in a marriage where my wife was restricting me for years, wouldn't give me sex, no attention, no my love languages of words of affirmation and physical touch. Wouldn't touch me, no words. And she's thinking she's teaching me a lesson. Meanwhile, I step out in the street, I got 100 women on my head 24/7. Like, what you think you dealing with an ugly dude? You know what I'm saying? You think you dealing with a little dude? I'm out here saying no all day, but I'm at home and you telling me no. And eventually, you know what I'm saying? This a while ago, long time ago, push come to shove, man, I'm diving in something. You told me no for months and months and months, then separated, then left me trying to teach me a lesson because you want me to get you a new Escalade and all this other stuff and blah, blah, blah. And you leave, you trying to manipulate me by not giving me no box. And it's like, man, do you know how many bras in the street is ready and willing? Barbara was on my head. Whatever, man. Who cares? You know what? At the end of the day, I'm just a vessel. I ain't nobody special, man. And I ain't went through nothing that ain't none of y'all went through at the same time. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Reno Molina can't be within 100 yards of a playground. Where you at? You got to be careful where you live, Reno. You know? Got to be careful, buddy. What else I got? What's my dog name? Rob from Flint. You got caught riding your thumb listening to Tevin Campbell. Oh, dog. Oh, can't even go there. Oh, dog. I'm crying. I'm crying. Uh, be humble in his browser history. One of the quotes in the browser history is does it hurt getting pegged? Ah, dog. Come on, man. Well, Carlos Rosada, what he on? Charlie sing to his ladies to get the number. Carlos Rosada, you let white people cut in front of you at Walmart. You guys can. You only get a few items. I got this whole basket full. You guys can go ahead. It's okay. It's okay if you guys go in front of me. It's cool. Hey, listen, man. You shop at Target? Oh, you even worse, man. You at Target. You at Target buying candles. Carlos Rosada, every time you go to the family reunion, you got a new dude with you that you tell everybody it's your cousin. This is my cousin Antoine. He's only wearing a skirt because he's from Scotland. That's the only reason. He's wearing a he's wearing a kilt. That's all. Dog said he shop at Target. I'm crying. So listen, man. Chuck, you can't go within 50 feet of nursing homes getting caught sniffing wheelchair seats. Reno Molina, you got private videos of Drake getting a BBL, man. How'd you get access to those, dog? Listen, let me give y'all some. Let me chop it with y'all for real. I went to the Detroit Institute of Arts today, to the art museum, right? Dog, it's so fire. DIA is free. I went in there and I'm walking around these floors where it's like Britain culture, Italy. It's all, and I'm like, man, I'm not interested in none of this, man. Where's the black stuff? And I go to the exhibit wing. Now, mind you, the rest of the museum, which is mostly white dominated, it stays consistent. But there's one section which is only till June 3rd, June 23rd. It's called Regeneration. And it's like African American history. So I go in there today, and dog, I'm almost in tears because I'm looking at all this history. Because first of all, I spent 30 minutes walking around the DIA and I couldn't relate to anything that I saw. I'm like, this don't represent nothing that I'm a part of. I don't understand none of this. This is, I mean, it was good for informational purposes, but Roman culture, English culture, it was just like, you know, first of all, I read the book called War of Art. And in that book, it said no, not War of Art. It's called The Artist's Way. And in that book, it talks about how one day a week, if you're an artist, you should have an artist day where you go out, do something for your art, feed your art. So today I went to the museum and I go to the DIA, spend the first 20, 30 minutes in all of these white sections of the museum, and I'm not inspired. It's good stuff. It was good to see, but I'm like, I am. Then I go to the black section called Regeneration. Dog. Regeneration was so fire. I was almost in tears because I'm walking through. They got posters of all these black movies. They got like some of the first black production companies, like the Lincoln Production Company, which started in LA in like the 20s or 30s, but ended up going bankrupt because they didn't have enough money. They got a poster of Birth of a Nation, which basically catapulted racism and stereotypes of black people way back in like the 20s or 30s. This Birth of a Nation, they had a poster of it. Birth of a Nation by D.W. Griffith. I don't know if y'all heard a dog. Birth of a Nation by D.W. Griffith showcased black soldiers attacking a white family. And this white family's all afraid because these black soldiers is just coming in attacking homes, and the saviors for this white family were basically the KKK in white hoods. And then they dragged some of the black people out and lynched them. And it was white actors in blackface. They didn't even use real Negroes. So for the actors, they used white actors in blackface shown attacking white families, taking advantage of white women. And the saviors were these people who came in white hoods and took these black attackers out and lynched them on trees. And that spawned lynching, mistreatment of black people for ages, because it just shaped the ideology and stereotype views of black people. And it's like, and the president of the time, Woodrow Wilson, said of the movie, he said, it's like writing history with lightning. He approved this movie. And when I'm in there, man, I'm almost in tears, like, wow, these are the things that shape this country. I was at a church in Southern California last year. Oh, man, I'm going to tell y'all the name of the church. I don't even care. I couldn't believe what this pastor said, man. And it made me stop going to this church because he clearly didn't understand what was going on. Man, I hope I get the name right. What city was it in? He said, I couldn't believe it. He was like, slavery's over. Okay. Guys, you need to get over it. Slavery's over. Let's move on. I was like, man, what? Okay, I get that. Slavery's over, but get over it. Like, y'all put laws in place to prevent us from purchasing properties and operating in America. Y'all bought up everything, and now that nothing's left, you saying, let's just get over it. It's cool. What was dog's name? What city was that in? That wasn't Rancho. Was it Ontario? Man, I went like 3 or 4 times, and now like I'm a firm Calvary Chapel. No, I'm a firm believer of, like, if you're trying to join the church, visit it a few times. Look at joining church like buying a car. You wouldn't buy a car your first time in the dealership unless you're a complete idiot. Go a few times. Oh, dog, what was the name of the church? Life Bible, Hillside. This was just last year too, dog. Man, if I remember the name, I'll tell you before the end of the show. But it was a white pastor, and it was a mega church, Southern California. No, it wasn't Potter's House. It was in Southern California. Man, you'll never catch me at Potter's House, man. Man, be humble. Let TD Jakes put hands on him, and that means 2 things. Oh, whatever, man. Charlie bought that shirt from Family Dollar, Ben Harbor. I'm crying. So, Birth of a Nation. Woodrow Wilson basically signed up for that. You know what I'm saying? So this just, I'm going to be honest. Going to the DIA today just took me into a history wormhole. You got to check out the regeneration section at the DIA. You got to get there by June 23rd. It's fire. Be humble. You'd volunteer at the Potter's House. 1,000%. You, sir. I wrote something specifically for you. You. Did I say this already? Go to 4th grade. Private videos. Yeah, I already said it already. Whatever. I'll make one up off the dome. Be humble. Just bought. Be humble. You just bought a 93 Jeep Grand Cherokee for 0 down, 800 a month at a 22% interest rate. And it had already broke down on you. You got it in the shop. And you called the dealership that you bought it from, like, hey, man, I just bought the car. And they're like, hey, you got to take care of it on your own. You paying all that money per month. And they got a switch on it, too. So if you stop paying, they're going to shut that boy off. Dog, let me ask y'all a trivia question. Who was the first African-American to win an Oscar? First African-American to win an Oscar. Let's see if y'all know. And don't Google it. Don't be a hoe. I already know y'all going to be a hoe. Don't Google it. But let's see. I know if the first answer is fast and right, y'all done Googled it. First African-American to win an Oscar. So I'm at the regeneration exhibit at the DIA, and they got a section of this play called I Am a Man. Michael Jai White, you tripping. Man, my mans didn't win no Oscar. What, for Tyler Perry? What's Love got to do with it? Or whatever it was. I don't know. I'm just making up names. They got an exhibit called I Am a Man. I was in that play 20 years ago. You gonna Google to make sure? No, it was more than 20 years ago, bro. I was 18. This was like 28 years ago. I was in a play at U of M called I Am a Man. It was about the sanitation workers who went on strike in the 60s because of how they was being treated. It wasn't Sydney pimping. You already know who it was, be humble. It is crazy. She won it. So the fact that it's she, I'm glad you said that. Eastwood, you Googled it. I already know. It wasn't Sydney. Hattie McDaniel, dog. Hattie McDaniel was psycho too. I researched her history. She was in love with entertainment and, willing to do whatever it takes to be famous. And when they told her, like, yeah, you played a maid, she was like, I'd rather play a maid than be one. And it's cool. She broke barriers, the whole nine, but you dark skinned and you 600 pounds. It's like, you ain't really got a whole lot of options, man. Divine Bebop, Maywood, Illinois. We're talking about Hattie McDaniel as a maid. It wasn't Eartha Kitt. Would y'all look at Eartha Kitt back in the day? Would y'all smack Eartha Kitt? We dirtbags. We'll smack anything, man. Eartha Kitt had a really strong look and a voice. I don't know if I would have smacked. I would have been afraid. But Hattie McDaniel was the first Black Oscar winner. And she won it for, I think, Gone with the Wind. And she was able to buy a house for herself, her kids. She broke barriers, of course. But she was just in love with entertainment. She worshiped it. She wanted it more than anything in the world. And when she passed away of cancer at age 59, she asked to be buried in the Hollywood cemetery. That was her final wish, which was denied because they're like, we're only burying white people here. She got denied for her final wish. That's how much she wanted to be in the spotlight and be known and be amongst the Hollywood elite. Her only wish at age 59 when she was passing away from breast cancer is, please bury me in the Hollywood cemetery. And they said no. So she in heaven looking down like, so y'all still not going to move me over there? That's all I wanted. I wanted to be famous. Hattie McDaniel. But shout out to her. Exhibit at the Detroit Institute of Arts. It's called Regeneration. Check it out if you can get there by June 23rd. The Lincoln Film Company, which was it was so much information about Black exploitation movies, Blaxploitation movies, and Black movies coming to light around that time. The Lincoln Film Company, which is a Black-owned company. It just took me into my dad, when I was young, 12, 13, he was just determined for me and my brother to know Black culture of the 70s, 60s, and 70s. So when I was like 12 or 13, we watched Superfly. We watched Dolomite. He watched it with us. Superfly, Dolomite, The Mac, Cotton Comes to Harlem. We watched all them shows, and he was cracking up laughing. Then we listened to all these Richard Pryor tapes. We had tapes back then. He had a couple records too. I just love my dad for that because he was like, I want y'all to know about this time, about culture. And he was talking to us about Motown in the 60s and 70s in Detroit. And man, he just made sure we just knew so much game about what was going on around that time. PD Wee Straw. So if you haven't watched any of them movies, take some time to watch Superfly, Dolomite, The Mac, Cotton Comes to Harlem. Like what it was around that time, it was that we were rebelling against the system, against the establishment. It was black filmmakers. Wasn't like BET. Right now, BET is not even owned by black people. It's Viacom. It's BET is on. BET is the only network that's in blackface right now. It's like white people wanting to produce a black content. And I don't know about y'all, but I can't even remember. Last time I watched BET probably was 106 in Park. I don't even watch it no more. For what? It's not even appealing. There's nothing on BET that I want to watch or BET Plus. The People's Hernandez Cock Show. What does that mean? The Cock Show. What's popping? That sounds sexually charged, man. I appreciate you tuning in, dog. What's going on with you? Did y'all know Terrence Howard's dad was that guy? I don't know. Today just kind of put me on a whole nother plane of researching black actors and black history and black cinema. So Terrence Howard's dad, Tyrone Howard, at 20-something years old, he's standing in line in Cleveland, Ohio, him and his children, to see Santa Claus. He wants his children to see Santa Claus. He's got, and one of the three children is Terrence Howard, and his wife is pregnant at the time. Standing in line in 1971 to see Santa Claus, and some white dude tries to cut in front of Tyrone Howard. And he's like, hey, man, I got my wife and kids and blah, blah, blah. They get into an argument. They get into a scuffle. Tyrone Howard's kids and wife is there. They get into a scuffle. The dude gets the better of Tyrone Howard, pins him against the wall. Tyrone Howard pulls out something shiny and starts poking my man. Side, neck. Get off me. Dude falls down and collapses, goes to the hospital. They arrest Tyrone Howard. Unfortunately, the man who he poked at with the sticky thing ends up being unalived. They charge Tyrone Howard with manslaughter. He does 11 months in prison. Right? This is Terrence Howard's dad, which makes sense why, as he got older, he wanted to emancipate from his parents. He's got this weird relationship with his parents and blah, blah, blah. He's a little different. I don't know if y'all know the story of Kenya Barris. Kenya Barris, who helped write, co-produce, whatever, America's Next Top Model with Tyra Banks. He watched his mom pop his dad when he was 5 years old, and she immediately put him in therapy, right? He didn't know why he was in therapy. He knew what he saw, but as he grew older, he had an understanding of the world, but she tried to unalive him, but she put him in therapy. Terrence Howard didn't get put in therapy. He watched his pops poke another dude over Santa Claus and go to prison for 11 months. So when we hear him speak, he says some prolific things. He says some great stuff about science. He's had a very successful acting career, but also, too, Terrence Howard may be a little off. But then we got to understand the psychology about why he may be a little off. You see your pops pull out something shiny and poke somebody else with it, you're going to have a different view of the world, too. Archie Lee, thank you for the $10 donation, family. You said, I believe you shared a glass of milk and Chips Ahoy with Marvin Gaye's pops. Oh, you gonna hit me with the haymaker, dog? I gotta like this comment, man. That's one of the funniest roasts I done read, bro. You tripping? Glass of milk, Chips Ahoy with Marvin Gaye. Have y'all ever seen a video of Marvin Gaye's pops? Marvin Gaye's pops was a fruit pop, man. My man was wearing women's clothes and high heels, dog. Just Google interview with Marvin Gaye's dad. Oh my God. His dad was a power pirate. Hilarious. Hilarious. I'm crying. Why you hit me with the haymaker, Archie? His pop sported hair rollers. Yeah, he was a cross dresser. He was a super pirate. Just look at the videos. He's my son. He was jealous of his son. He ended up blasting his son. How you gonna pop your own son? I feel like Marvin Gaye's dad having a son reminded him of his heterosexual side, and that's why he popped him. Because if you don't have kids, it's clear that it can support your lifestyle of being fruit. But the fact you had kids, it just lets the world know that you had relations with the opposite sex. I think he was just like, I want to live my truth. I'm a pirate. I'm a butt pirate, and I want the world to know. So let me get rid of all of the evidence. All right. Tyrone Howard, we discussed him, right? Santa Claus line, blaxploitation movies, Superfly, Dolomite. Somebody said Willie Dynamite. That was a good one. BET Uncut. BET Uncut was lit. Thank you, Rob from Flint. BET Uncut. I remember watching the tip drill video on BET Uncut. Bro, I ain't gonna lie, man. I sprayed watching that video. BET Uncut. I was completely bottomless from the waist down watching BET Uncut, and I clapped out. I ain't even gonna lie. I clapped out. Every time I watched BET Uncut, it was a guarantee that I was gonna clap and spray. Going to bed now. BET Uncut was the staple for most of us black men over the age of 35. We was getting it into BET Uncut. Tip drill, I clapped out the tip drill. Can't even lie. Clapped out the tip drill. Dolomite, Mudbone. So if you listen to the Richard Pryor, man, if you want to hear real comedy, these comedy specials now, I heard somebody say a while ago, comedy specials now ain't special, and they not. They so trash. You got to go back to the old ones. Go back to the 70s. Go back to Richard Pryor, his comedy specials. Bicentennial, Nigger. That Nigger is crazy. All of those specials, you got to watch those. He got a character called Mudbone in those specials. It's an old black dude. I don't even want to ruin it. If you want good specials, go to the 70s and 80s. These specials now, I don't listen to them, man. Smelling like Jergens. Anyone remember that chick in the green dress at the beginning of Soul Food movie? My man Archie is confessing. Is that the one that made you release? As soon as he saw that green dress, he was filling up his left pocket with mayonnaise. I ain't gonna lie, man. That tip drill video. Archie Lee, I ain't gonna lie, bro. You about to make me watch Soul Food to see what was going on. Man, I ain't gonna lie. It was even that. It was in Detroit. It was a TV show called The New Dance Show. It was like The Scene. It was like Soul Train, and it was just half naked chicks dancing to music. And I ain't gonna lie, I popped a few off to the New Dance Show. Popped a few off. My cousin told me this story about this dude we grew up with, man. Rest in peace. I say his name, Tony Powell. They called him Foul Powell. Rest in peace, Foul Powell. Powell, Foul Powell. My cousin said they needed an extra person for them to play a football game in the hood. So they went to his house. He stayed with his grandmother. They knocked on the door, and his granny was in a wheelchair. And it was like, she said, Tony's in the back. Y'all go get him. My cousin said that they walked to the back room and walked in. And as soon as they walked in, he threw a cover over his lap. Hey, what y'all, everything all right? What y'all doing back here? My man had the new dance. He had the New Dance Show TV show on. And my cousin said he looked and the cover wasn't completely covering his body because his whole thigh and leg was out and his pants was down at his ankles. My man was in there working his meat to the New Dance Show when all my cousins walked in. He was just about to pop one off when everybody walked in, like, man, what do y'all want, man? What do y'all need? So, shout out to the New Dance Show. Yeah, he was in there getting it done. Here's a side note. Any of y'all ever spent the night over your white friend's house and in the bathroom you notice there's no washcloths? Like they just wash up with soap? I remember the first white broad I ever hit. You know what I'm saying? I went over there and smacked real quick. And I'm like, let me wash up. And I go into the bathroom and it's just soap. Because I'm like, I don't even remember her name. Amy, where's the washcloth? What washcloths? I don't have any of those in there. Just use the soap. And I'm like, well, how do you wash your butt, Amy? Just use the soap. But I need to scrub. So you mean to tell me that you want me to put this, so y'all put this mustard bookie stain on your hands when you wash? Where's the rags? White people don't have washcloths. Then she said, well, there's a loofah on the counter. I'm not using no loofah, your loofah specifically to wash up. That sounds feminine. Where are the washcloths, Amy? White people don't have washcloths. I just want to say that. All right, so let me ask y'all a question. Time travel. If you could time travel anywhere at any time, what would your decade be? And I'm going to tell y'all right off top. If I could time travel, first and foremost, I'm going to the 60s. Now, we know as Black people, we can't time travel past like the 60s. You go to the 50s or 40s, soon as you touch down, it's like, what are you doing here, boy? So as a Black man, I can't time travel past 1963. Okay, I can't go beyond that. But I'm saying from let's just say 1960 and beyond, I for sure can't go back to the 40s. What are you doing here, boy? I got to walk with my head down. There's dogs attacking me. People spraying me with water hoses, or I can get hung on a tree or anything weird, or some white dude just watched Birth of a Nation and he think I done looked at his white woman. Imagine me in the 40s as a 6'3", 220-pound green-eyed Black dude in the 40s. Because, of course, man, they're going to be like, man, this Black, he wants my girl. Get Charlie out of here. So I can't go past 1960 at all. But if I could time travel, I would go to the 60s and I would go to the 80s. 90s at this age? Tell me why the 90s, because two of y'all said 90s. Archie and Be Humble. Why the 90s? Tell me why 1970s, Rob and Flynn. I love the 70s too. I would have the coldest hands if I went back that far. Ain't nobody seeing me in nothing in any decade. 70s, 60s. I square up with anybody in the 60s, I'm dog walking him. I'm dog walking him. I'm stomping him. I'm bunny earing his pockets. I'm taking all of them. I'm taking him $28. I'm going to the store. I can't be seen in any kind of hand-to-hand combat. I'm unguardable. Tell me why y'all would go back to the 90s. Got to tweak the gangs, Hollywood, and hit the back. Black actresses. I made a total of $55 when I tried pimping. I'm crying. Dylan Chillin, what if you could time travel, what decade would you go back to? 60s. Black people, we can't travel beyond the 60s. 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. Me, I go back to the 60s first. It was just such a great, for me personally, it was just such a great time for civil rights. Martin Luther King was having sex with a bunch of women. I probably would have wanted to be his friend. You know what I'm saying? But he was also doing a great work in the community. Malcolm X, you got all the, but you got also too, you got all of these assassinations from these black leaders too. Yeah, Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. What's dog name in Chicago that was a Black Panther? Oh, y'all could probably tell me in the chat. But I'm saying it was so much going on. It was so much political unrest. It was so much change. It was so much less. All these black exploitation movies start coming out. We started to take a stand. Like, I just would want to see what was popping in the 60s, man. Fred Hampton, yeah. 70s did seem live, man. My dad tell me the greatest story from the 70s, man. He was a hot rod guy. He had a yellow and black 69 Z28. He was a street racer. He was racing everywhere on Livernois. Anybody know the city, you know, where the White Castle used to be at Livernois and Warren is what was called the races. And that's where after you leave Belle Isle or you leave 7 Mile, 12, 1, 2 in the morning, you go to the races on Livernois, you race all night. It's funny, I used to live near Livernois in Wyoming in my 20s, and I was racing up and down. I had a yellow Cutlass with a 350 in it. So it's like, I don't know, it's weird how history repeats itself. My dad was racing in the 70s on Livernois in a yellow Camaro. I was racing in the 90s on Livernois in a yellow Cutlass. And I don't know, it's weird how things happen. Fred Hampton's cousin, he used to be on my mother's side. Man, shout out to Fred Hampton, dog. One thing I do know is that the women from the 70s through 90s look way better than the ones today post BBL. Really? I don't know, Archie. Some bad women out here, bro. Especially in California with no BBLs. You wanted to live in a bathhouse in San Francisco in the 70s. Reno Molina, you be having political conversations with people in a bathhouse right now, nude. So what do you guys think about this Biden administration? My man be having conversations with no clothes on in the bathhouse. They call you Bathhouse Reno. You got 10 tweeters in the back of an Oldsmobile. You play Father Figure by George Michael. That's your soundtrack, Archie, when you go to the dentist, when you got your mouth open in front of a man. Before he starts working on your mouth, you say, "Excuse me, I've got a playlist that I'd like you guys." First of all, it's Father Figure by George Michael, Can We Talk by Tevin Campbell, and Dance with My Father by Luther Vandross. Can you play these while my mouth is open here in the dentist's office, if you don't mind? Dog. So let's go into some entertainment history. Tell me if y'all know about the Mann Act, created because of Jack Johnson. The Mann Act. And if you don't know, Jack Johnson was a famous fighter back in the day, black fighter. And he was just beating up white dudes left and right. And he was so brash, he'd beat up white dudes and he'd leave the venue with white women on a regular basis. And let's just say he fought in Ohio, but he lived in Illinois. So he would fight in Ohio, beat up a white dude, leave and go to Illinois with a white woman. So what they started doing is they created the Mann Act, which was a law in place that if anybody transporting a woman across state lines with under the auspices of him having sex with her, then they could arrest him. And that's how they was able to arrest Jack Johnson, mess with him, strip his title. They created this law because they got tired of seeing this big black Amistad dude beat up white men, and then take white women from state to state for sexual intercourse. He had a stable of white bras. It took Charlie a decade to let go of his Playboy. Dog. Insane. Ben Frank, what's popping, G? We're talking about Jack Johnson and the Mann Act. Like, they created a whole law for this dude. That's part of our entertainment history. And who was the only president to pardon Jack Johnson and invite his family to the White House to give them some type of relief on how the American government treated him and his family in the time of him being the heavyweight champion of the world? Who was the only president to pardon him? Even though Jack Johnson had passed, who was the only president to give his family some type of recourse based on how the American government treated him? Who do y'all think it was? No, sir. Not Bill Clinton. Jack Johnson is a legend. It was somebody Googling it right now. I'm going to tell y'all before you Google it. It wasn't Obama either, because Obama only cared about the rainbow community and making it okay for men to use women's bathrooms. So it wasn't Obama. It was Donald Trump. Donald Trump was the only president who was like, man, let me try to make this right. The only one. Now, I ain't going to sit here. It's not no political speech on Donald Trump or whoever. I'm going to vote my Christian conviction. I believe theology over emotions and everything else. But I will say Biden has seemed to be the lesser of two evils in this whole situation. Obama was on donut alertness for sure. Obama was, y'all see, Obama just one of the people who just worked for Obama just passed away mysteriously. The chef drowned not too long ago, who was a master swimmer. Now somebody else just passed. I don't want to talk too much about Obama. I don't want him to send no people at me. Biden is half not alive. Okay, so blackface. Let's get into blackface, because now I spent this time at the DIA and I was just so intrigued by blackface and the performances. So the first blackface performance was in the 1930s. It was white people with black faces, and they were mimicking Southern plantation black people as lazy, ignorant, superstitious, hypersexual, and prone to thievery and cowardice. Do you know the name of the first person who was in blackface? His name was Dartmouth Rice. Of course, he was a white dude. And he developed his first blackface character known as Jim Crow in 1830. And by 1945, just 15 years later, it was so famous and world renowned that there was a whole sub industry that supported blackface characters performing in media. Like music, makeup, costumes, all of these stereotypes help propagate and support these stereotypes that were established in American society in the 30s and 40s. DIA is a classic. It's insane. And that's where Birth of a Nation came from, like all of these particular things. So when this pastor at this church in Southern California was like, hey, slavery is over, guys, get over it. And it's like, come on, man, y'all done bought up all the property. You've taken all the resources. You've created this stereotype. You've created laws to prevent us. Think about the work ethic we had as slaves in the 1800s as soon as the emancipation came. What happens if people that have that type of work ethic, you release them into society, we working so much, we're going to own it all. So there had to be laws in place, Jim Crow laws, to keep us subjugated. And it's like, for a pastor, that's why I left that church. Hey, guys, slavery is over. Let's get over it. Let's move on. Come on, bro. You got a head start. You bought everything, man. And you prevented us from purchasing things and even operating in this world. You can't just say it's okay. Am I mad at any particular race? No, but there was a system in place that supported another group of people being able to buy everything. And you bought everything, and now there's a certain percentage left, a small percentage, and you're like, nah, everything's okay. Let's just, nah, man, we got to go back. We got to redistribute, dog. We got to redistribute. Did you know that Shirley Temple? Yeah, Basquiat Z invests in rainbow art. I'm sure of it. I love what 50 Cent said. He said, he was talking about Jay-Z. He said, Jay-Z, what did he say? Models himself after a gay painter. Basquiat was a heroin addict and a pirate. But that's why when I walked around the museum, nothing else in the museum caught my interest at all. No, none of the other art. But when I went to I went to two areas in the museum at the DIA that caught my interest. The regeneration section, which interestingly enough, by June 23rd of this year, it's not going to be there no more. And then there's another section that's only going to be there for a year by Tiff. I forgot her last name, but it's called like 7 Mile in Illinois. And it's a whole Black experience. It shows like barrettes, hot combs, like the Black experience, but that's only going to be there for a certain period of time. But the Roman stuff, the English stuff, everything related to that culture, those people, that stays year round. But the Black stuff is only for a season. I believe in, I mean, you know what? That's why I believe in reparations, Reno Molina. You know, the land was taken from the Indians, and Black people worked the land to build wealth for wealthy white landowners. And that's where the police came into play. The police department initially was created to protect the interest of wealthy white landowners. Now, again, this is not about people. This is not about looking at white people and saying, I'm mad at you, but there was a system in place that built what we have now. And a lot of things now, a lot of millions, billions have been created and supported by the cotton industry back in the 1800s, 10s, 20s, and 30s. It's just that they made all the money off of cotton and off of slaves, and then they bought other industries. They transitioned into other things. And now there's a lot of rich people now that are dealing with, you know, their trust fund babies of money from the cotton industry, except it just happened to be something that was frowned upon. So they spent their money on other things. Bob Ross is a GOAT. Flat out GOAT. Love Bob Ross. That's why I'm like, man, it's not, this fight is not against flesh and blood, as the Bible says. It's against spirituality, principalities, spiritual wickedness in high places. Our fight is never against a person. A Black person's fight is not against a white person. It's against a demonic system that was put in place for one group of people to excel and another group of people to be subjugated in that process. That's what it is, man. My fight ain't against people. I might have some native blood, man. I don't know. That's the thing about it. We don't know. When you don't know what your roots are, where you come from, and you got to put a lot of research into it, it's very easy for your identity to be defined by other things. The system is very devilish. You think that the fight creates beliefs? Explain that. I want to go to the Charles H. Wright Museum. 1000%. Did you know that Shirley Temple, Judy Garland, and Mickey Rooney all wore blackface? Also Drake. Drake wore blackface like an idiot. Yeah, you got to look up. Pusha T already talked about him. So let me get into some more Black history. Oprah was not the first media conglomerate. You know who was? Harlem salon owner Lucille Campbell Randolph. Now her last name's hyphenated, so I don't really like that. I feel like and this was way back in like 1912, but even then, I feel like when a woman hyphenates her last name, she doesn't trust her husband, or he has a small penis, or she's saying that her husband's bisexual. Anytime a woman hyphenates her last name, she doesn't trust her husband's sexuality, or that he can protect her. If he's small, he has a small pipe, or he's bisexual. I think those are the only reasons that a woman would hyphenate her last name. There's no way in the world a woman's gonna marry me and hyphenate her last name. We're not getting married again. What you trying to hold on to? Okay, I'm not small. I'm beating your box down. Okay, and I'm straight. There's no reason for you to hyphenate your last name. So if you run across a woman ever in life, I want you to remember this. I'm gonna look into the camera. If you run into a woman with a hyphenated last name, she's telling the world that her husband is bisexual, or he's small, or he can't protect her, and he's just a timid, weak man. That's what she's telling the world. So anyway, Lucille Campbell Randolph, who was married to a small man, she financed the publication of the Messenger, which was a magazine. It was a progressive magazine that was co-founded in 1912 by her husband, Philip Randolph. So Philip probably was either bisexual or tiny. That's why she hyphenated her last name. But Lucille Campbell Randolph had the first media publication back in 1912 called The Messenger, and she owned a salon. So what she used to do is, because there were so many rules with black people, the laws and Jim Crow stuff back in the day, and it was censorship laws, and I don't know, they was hating on her, they was gatekeeping her. So what she did is she published the magazine herself, and she sold it to her patrons at her salon. And it ended up becoming the most influential publications in the black community in the teens and 20s. She just took matters in her own hands. And that's why I really want to tell y'all, none of us experienced the gatekeeping and roadblocks that these black people experience in the teens and 20s. Okay. So stop it. You get blacklisted, you get gatekeeped. Come on, man. You didn't grow up in the teens and 20s, dog. She published a magazine and sold it to her patrons, and it became popular. Figure out a way to get that bag no matter what's going on around you. Quit complaining, dog. For real. Even though she married a bisexual man. Lucille Campbell Randolph, I'm just joking. I don't know if dude was bisexual, but Lucille Campbell hyphenated Randolph made history, right? It was the most influential American, publication of the 1920s. We talked about Birth of a Nation. The hyphen is castration, Ben Frank. I totally agree. How do y'all feel? You get ready to marry a woman and she's like, I want to keep my last name or make it hyphenated, or you can take my last name. What would you say about that? Insane. People was on me about my flip phone today. I was getting jokes like, that's your phone, dude? That's crazy, man. Yeah, dog is. I feel like certain men hear the word penetration in their mouth water. We're under a very heavy program in the U.S., Reno Molina. I believe you. So let's get into more history. Lucille Ball. Lucille Ball had the show I Love Lucy back in the day. Very popular show. She actually is the one that started the multi-camera sitcom. She started it. And she basically her production company was really, let me give some more history on this before I just run my mouth. Lucille Ball was so smart, her and Desi Arnaz had their own production company. So not only was she the star on the show, but her and her husband also produced the episodes. And I'm going somewhere with this in a minute because we've been talking about Black history. It's called Desilu Productions. Was an American television production company founded and co-owned by husband and wife Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball. Desilu Production Company basically helped formulate Paramount TV, Paramount Productions, which is in existence right now. Desilu was founded in 1950 using the combined names of husband and wife production team Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball. It was created to produce Leslie and Desi's Vaudeville Act as a television series and sell it to Columbia Broadcasting System, which is CBS. The television project eventually became I Love Lucy. During the show's first few years, Desilu rented space at General Service Studios, blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. In 1957, the company bought the RKO Pictures production facilities for $6 million from the General Tire and Rubber Company. The person included 40 acres, the Black Lot. Exteriors for Mayberry were filmed. So Mayberry's acquisition was around the 20th Century Fox. 33 sound stages. They was balling. Independent Arnett, independent ball. Okay, so let me just get to the meat of it. They started one of the first very successful production companies as a husband and wife team. They gave Lucille Ball hell because she wanted her husband Desi Arnaz on the show. She wanted to portray her marriage to a Cuban American, and they fought her for that. She wanted to show that she was pregnant by her husband on the show. They fought her for that. She did it anyway. So she broke all these barriers. And then people was on her like, but there wasn't no Black people on the show. Okay, but she did her part in that season. But she also produced Star Trek. Desilu, her production company, started Star Trek. And Star Trek featured the first on-screen black and white kiss, first TV on-screen, I think on-screen in general, black and white kiss, which was Lieutenant Uhura and Captain Kirk in 1960, whatever. That came through Lucille Ball's production company. You know what I'm saying? That was big. You know how big it was to see a white man or just anyone white kissing anyone black on TV in the 60s, dog? I messed with Lucille Ball. Uhura was, yeah, she was fired, dog. That was the first kiss, man. First black and white kiss. So shout out to Lucille Ball. And I'm just, this episode, we're just talking about some of the entertainment history because I've been inspired going to the DIA today and seeing this section called Regeneration in Black cinema and how much we've been hated on in this cinema. It's insane. But there were people who were fighting for us. So Marilyn Monroe in the 50s, she heard that Ella Fitzgerald and other Black performers were not allowed to perform at certain casinos in Las Vegas, let alone walk through the front door. So Marilyn Monroe called this casino in the 50s and said, hey, look, I want to sit on the front row, bring some friends. I'm willing to allow press to bring people to your casino. So basically she was saying, hey, look, I know I'm famous and I want to bring some recognition to your casino. She said, but I want Ella Fitzgerald to perform and be the headliner and walk through the front door and sleep at the hotel. If you're willing to do this for her, I'll sit on the front row and let y'all take pictures of me and promote it that I'll be there. And they agreed. So this was somebody using their white influence in the world of entertainment to reach out to very successful Black entertainers and give them an opportunity they may not have had. Shout out to Marilyn Monroe. And Ella Fitzgerald went in there. Let me clarify, just to make sure. So I ain't talking out the side of my neck, you know what I'm saying? Whoa, man, for real? Man, Isaiah Thomas was held at Hammer Point with an AK, but only survived because he was recognized from the NBA. Is this new? What's up with that Isaiah Thomas, bro? Why he got so many issues? Former Celtics point guard Isaiah Thomas said he was threatened at Hammer Point while hanging out with friends. He said somebody pulled an AK on him. Isaiah's 35, did not elaborate on the aftermath of his encounter. Wow. Dude knew him and laid down. Where was dog at, man? Isaiah Thomas has been incredibly talented. I don't understand why he been getting the hate that he got. But meanwhile, Bronny, who can't hoop, has been getting so much recognition. Maybe Isaiah's not kissing the right butt, man. What was I supposed to be looking up? Oh, Marilyn Monroe, Ella Fitzgerald. I want to make sure that's. I want to get all the details. Let's see. The true story behind Marilyn Monroe helping Ella Fitzgerald. It's going viral. The singer helped the actress. The singer and actress helped the jazz star land a lucrative gig by using her white privilege. She convinced the owners of the Macambo to allow Ella to perform. It's true. The reason they were hesitant wasn't because they had never had a black performance at the club. While her race would undoubtedly have played a part, the era of black entertainers, including Eartha Kitt and Herb Jeffries, had played the Macambo before Ella. Yeah, they lied. They said the reason they didn't want her to perform is because they were concerned about did she really perform true jazz? Shut up. Point is, Marilyn Monroe contacted the owners of the Macamba, a top Sunset Strip nightclub, and persuaded them to hire Fitzgerald for a week. Marilyn promised to be in front row every night and to take friends with her. According to Dorothy Dandridge, however, the real problem with Fitzgerald at the time was not that she was African American, but that she was overweight and without much sex appeal. Yeah, okay. Sound like some hate even back then. Either way it goes, whether it's because she wasn't given opportunities because she was fat and black, Marilyn Monroe made the call to get her a performance. Crying. So it got taken over and built up to the major companies we see today. What you mean, Rob from Flint? Um, Rob from Flint got caught riding his thumb listening to Tevin Campbell. Charlie got a custom pair of Fat Farm jean shorts in the frame. Man, you got a Carl Kanai jean suit at the crib right now that you only wear on Sundays to church. Y'all crazy. Absolutely crazy. Oh, I got a poem I wrote for y'all, man. Where's it at? Y'all know Sammy Davis Jr. was interested. He all he wanted to deal with was white women. He was dating a Jewish woman. They tried to tell him to leave her alone. So the rumor is he got into this car accident, but they say he got into a car accident, but the rumor is that they poked his eye out, telling him to stop messing with white women, and that's why he got a glass eye. So a white broad cost Sammy Davis Jr. his eye. I hope it was worth it. Shout out to you. Sammy was getting it in back then. Is it worth it? Imagine if Sammy Davis was alive now. You know how easy it is to score white broads now? Sammy would lose his mind. Um, Here's my poem. You guys ready? You're not a boss, so you can't relate. You're paying $800 a month for a 2008 Escape. No money down. You didn't have to wait. Then you agreed to a 20% interest rate. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If that's you, you a hoe. Thank you so much. Sammy was getting it in back then. Sammy was getting some chips. He was getting some broads. Did you know George Washington Carver helped Ford create an oil for real? I wouldn't doubt it. Did you know that okay, let's just pop off some random Black history facts. Do you know that the Jack Daniels alcohol recipe was stolen from one of his black slave helpers? And if he wasn't a slave, let's just say one of his black helpers. And then once the news started spreading out about this, which it had to be true, Jack Daniels helped the family start the Uncle Nearest alcohol company. And you can find the Uncle Nearest alcohol brand being sold in some stores now. So it had to be true if they was willing to say, hey, listen, we'll help you. Nearest Green. Jack Daniels stole that recipe, man. How many times did they steal from us? Anyway. What else we got here? I'm tripping. I wrote on here, Magic Johnson's son is 6'9" and he's gay. That means he can play in the WNBA. I don't even know. This is just what I be writing in the mornings. I'll be tripping. You know, on a creative tip, if you just get up at 3 a.m. and just write anything without censoring yourself, it's amazing the funny stuff that'll come out. What's another one I wrote? There are no pictures of Michelle Obama pregnant, which means Barack is the one who gave birth to them kids. Oh, dog. Tripping. The Pistons brought Mandela home. I'm tripping. Uncle Nearest. So look, I just want to end on giving y'all an encouraging words for the week. Take some time to separate from the world, man. Go look at some art. I went to the DIA today. Okay, go to a symphony orchestra, go to a play, go watch a movie. If you're staring at everything that's happening in the world right now to drive you crazy, your job is to pursue destiny, man. You got a calling on your life. Your destiny is locked up in your DNA. You're supposed to do something great. And even if you haven't done it already, maybe it's coming. But I'm saying, if you're focusing on everything going on around you in the world, then you will lose less focus on what it is that you called to do. We don't have time to be playing games. Enjoy the journey, but also take the time to do what it is you called to do. How do you know what you called to do? If you had all the money in the world, what would you do with your time? Whatever that answer is, it's an indication of your gift, what you called to do. Go after it, man. I ain't even tripping on you. I'm not the type of person to tell you, don't do drugs, don't smoke, don't drink, don't look. I'm not that guy. I'm gonna tell you, whatever is limiting you on pursuing what it is God has called you to do, cut that out or limit it for a season until you can pursue what it is you called to do. Flat out. We don't have time to play. And maybe you're already walking in what you called to do. And kudos to you. Praise to you. But if it all ain't working out in your favor right now, just know that one day it will. Romans 8:28 says, all things work together for good for those who love God and are called according to his purpose. If you love God, you called according to his purpose. You have to accomplish your perfect will destiny, man. For real. Stop paying attention to the distractions, the weird Males or females that come across your path that ain't supposed to be there. Ignore them. Pursue peace. Pursue your destiny, man. I ain't on here for licensed subscribers and views. If you don't like it, tune off. Care less, man. God has blessed me to be able to supply for my family with other arenas. I ain't depending on YouTube and the internet to feed myself so I can say whatever I want. I really wish I could say whatever I want or I'd get banned. But other than that, man, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Tap into the website, iamcharlienewhart.com. Y'all know what it is, man. I love y'all because I love myself. I'm gone.